I has rights, you have rights, even animals has rights. So earlier on, I got in two professors, an animal rights activist, and a woman with a hedgehog to ask them some questions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Crastinators podcast. I'm the best guy ever, and Mumkey Jones is here.
Hello, everyone. I'm the Nostalgia Mumkey. I remember it so you don't have to.
Classic comedy. Hypocrite is here.
I don't have anything after that. That's a good one.
That really stole the show. We
really
should just quit right now.
What a great bit. You should start a whole thing about that. You should start a whole channel and branch out and just make it a whole franchise.
I bet that channel would be awesome.
I feel like you can incorporate wearing glasses into this character that you've just come up with. Yeah. That might be
that Mumkey with the glasses.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And
Tom Oliver.
I'll do this great thing where I take a movie and I condense it into 6 seconds, and it'll be like Titanic in 6 seconds.
That's a pretty good idea.
Tom.
It's actually a good
Tom's also here.
Hello.
Hi, I'm here.
And I guess Ben's here.
Talk about cultural appropriation.
It's true. Okay, so today we're talking about.
I just finished my monkey studies class 101.
How dare you?
For my gen ed requirements.
Fantastic.
National Monkey History Month.
That was in
the
February,
degeneracy pervades.
Oh.
Ouch. Harsh. Okay, so today we're talking about animal rights. Animal rights. And in fact, if you believe it or not, there is an Urban Dictionary definition for animal rights. So let's take a gander here. Animal rights. A philosophy that suggests... Is that a vape? Did I just hear a fucking vape?
No, of course not. Of course it wasn't.
The vape ape is here.
God.
That would never happen.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Guys,
all right.
I think we need to punish Ben for this vaping bullshit. And I'm prepared to do a Mumkey siren every time I hear this shit to alert you all, because I have great monkey ears.
All right.
That sounds like a good idea.
If I hear fucking vape, I'm going to go... and then you'll all know.
This is just going to be a game of cat and mouse of how subtly can I vape before I said I'm just going to be pushing the boundaries every time.
It's going to be like that monkey with the symbols in Toy Story 3.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Okay,
anyway,
so here's our definition. Yes. Excuse you indeed.
What's the
rights.
definition of douchebag who vapes all the time?
Ben Saint, look it up. It's in there.
Picture of me.
So animal rights.
It's rare that the definition is shorter than the word.
Well, it happens. Animal rights. A philosophy that suggests some or all animals have the right to possess their own lives. Contrary to popular opinion, animal rights activists do not ask for voting rights for chickens or pigs. Rather, they ask that animals not be used for food, entertainment, medical research, or clothing. Some activists maintain that there is a distinction between the sentient or self-aware animals and those with a large degree of self-awareness are to be afforded the right to possess their own lives. Okay, a little bit more. Animal rights are also largely tied to dietary lifestyles such as vegetarianism and veganism who abhor the consumption of meat products in accordance with the principles of animal rights.
So,
there you go.
So we're in this podcast, animal rights means animals shouldn't be treated any differently than humans. Like, if you wouldn't eat a human, you wouldn't eat an animal. Is that what we're going with?
I don't think
so.
I think it's more like, should we treat them with decency?
That definition seemed to imply that believing in animal rights, period, means that we shouldn't eat animals.
I love animal rights, period. Yeah, that's a little bit. It's a little bit beyond the pale of what I would expect. Formally, I mean, there's other definitions here. Whatever. Okay, we're gonna come up with our own reasonable definition. Yeah. I think that animal rights in general is a kind of a broad scope as to whether animals, like any organism besides human, whether it deserves any rights at all to its own life, to its existence, whether we should respect it and its habitat.
I'm already
it's all under the same umbrella.
I don't care at all.
You don't care.
It's the worst topic ever.
That's a position.
I'm glad you signed up for this episode, Hippo.
Yeah, see you later, Hippo.
You wanted me to be here.
You wanted yourself to be. You signed up, goddammit. Nobody signed you up.
Monkey said he wanted me to be here. I don't know why.
Don't tell them my secret. I got you and Tom here specifically because I like you.
Gib, you have a hippo who is your son. You have a
he's not my
stake in this
son.
argument.
He's
your daughter then.
no,
Hippo. Oh,
he's
yeah,
my
yeah.
roommate.
Don't assume his gender.
Hippo's
right.
Hippo's listening to this podcast and shedding a single tear as he hears this.
Don't assume he is
Consecutive
gender.
single tears.
I'm just his roommate.
Okay, well, all right. Let me take my position here, and we can go from there. I think that I was gonna say my first thought was no animals deserve any rights at all, including humans can do whatever they want to animals, and I do not give a fuck. I've changed that opinion slightly because I realize that if that definition was, if I use that, I don't actually think humans have very, I don't think that human intelligence is anything particularly like special in the sense that it distinguishes us from animals. We're just better at achieving our goals. So what I'm going to say is, I think, yeah, well,
You don't think
humans,
we're smarter than animals?
No, we are definitely smarter. But for example, some humans have intelligence that is, I mean, not like animal level, but like closer to animal level. So like, where does the
I
cutoff
think
lie?
even somebody with Down syndrome is smarter than a gopher.
I'm not disputing that at all. But what I am saying is there is like a measurable scale of intelligence, and you shouldn't just say all animals don't matter. You should take like something like a dolphin, people say, right? Dolphins are generally pretty smart.
Yeah.
If you can measure the intelligence of a dolphin and say that it is worth keeping, and I don't know what the standard should be, but if we could figure that out, that should be the standard for whether or not we care about it.
I have a thought on this. Dolphins, people like dolphins because they're like they can do tricks, they can talk, they'd be like ee, and we're like, oh, that's nice, I like that thing. I won't kill it. And any animal that has has made us enamored with it, so that we don't kill it, is smart enough to live. I think it's just there's no like a level of intelligence. There's no like a data point. There's no math number that we can attribute to any like on a scale. What animals should we kill and what should we not?
Oh, I disagree.
I think if we like animals to be alive, then they should live.
Okay, but just think about it for a second. What you're doing there is just making an emotional argument for things that humans like.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
That's
okay.
my point. I don't care about like, oh, what's we should try to like categorize everything and make a hard distinction. If
Okay, but here's the
if you
problem.
like your
Here's the
dog,
problem
you
with that
shouldn't eat your
definition, though.
dog. But if other people don't care about their dogs, they can eat them. It just
Okay.
depends on who you are and where you are in the society around you.
Here's the reason why there's a flaw in that argument. Because what if humans were to someday meet some organism that was, human level intelligence or higher, who knows, but was just repellent on many levels, kind of like the bugs from Starship Troopers. What if we were to encounter a species like that and just assume that they were bad and gross and we didn't like them? Even if so I'm proposing a universal standard for we will care about a creature.
I don't know what those bugs
meets
are
these
like.
criteria.
Can they talk to us with language?
Yeah.
Well, they do communicate with each other. Okay, a lot of them are just grunts, but they do have like queens, and those seem to have like human level intelligence, if not higher. Not like super intelligent.
Well,
but
then
they
she should be an ambassador, and then people will be like, "Oh, I guess these people, these are this is a different race. We should be treating them like a minority."
That's totally
Yeah, so like terribly.
I guess.
So like herd them into camps and cook them and eat them.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I think Starship Troopers is actually a great example of this, because the whole deal behind Starship Troopers, fantastic movie, everybody go watch it if you haven't, is that humans got into this war with the bugs based mostly on a misunderstanding.
Bug war, if you will.
It was in fact a bug war. It was 100% a bug war. If only Munchie was here.
I forgot about the bug war.
It
should
rages
never
every
forget
day,
about the
Ben.
bug
Every
war.
day, Ben.
Oh my
It's
god,
like-
I'm part of the problem.
That's right. The Syrian refugee crisis wages on every day, and you just turn a blind eye to it, Ben. So too does the bug war.
Yep,
Never forget.
That describes me to a T.
Okay, so in that movie, the point is that humans in that movie don't give a fuck about the bugs because they're gross and they don't understand them, even though they're, like, throughout the movie, there are clearly signs that the bugs are only defending their territory and are only, like, retaliating against humans because humans, aggressed against them, and are, like, trying to colonize their solar system and shit. So that's why the bugs attack humans. it's based totally on a misunderstanding, whereas they could totally have gotten along or just left each other alone if they just didn't fuck with each other. But it's like the propaganda of, ew, emotionally, we don't like these bugs. And the propaganda throughout the film is fantastic at illustrating how nonsensical it is. It just, like, humans just start stomping on cockroaches on Earth as if that's a fucking, like, resistance against the bugs in space. But you understand my point here. It's just that we need some sort of hard system.
I can alter my stance a bit to fit with that.
Okay.
Say, for example, where there's, like, you know, a bug comes and it says, no, we're intelligent, you idiot. And then one of the humans is like, oh, they're intelligent. Wait, we should stop killing them. And then there's other humans that are like, I don't care, I got a gun. I'm gonna smush them. Then at that point, it will be up to the humans to decide amongst themselves, democratically or however they decide things, whether that new species should be considered a beast or a potential, new, species we can talk to. And that will be like, what I'm saying is, a universal standard is too, the amount of things we could ever find out in space, for example, is ridiculous. I don't think a universal standard will count for the whole universe. I think we should just take things as they come.
Well, I mean, you could separate it into different components. Like if they are actively trying to kill you, this entire race.
We're talking about we're here today on the PCP talking about animal rights. We're 10 minutes in, and the scope of our argument has already expanded to a universal, extra galactic scale.
It has to though. It has to.
It
Because
doesn't
I'm
have
talking
to.
about a universal.
Yeah,
Okay,
it really doesn't have to, Nate.
We can talk.
Believe it or
these
not.
arguments will apply to my thoughts on like why we can eat meat and all
I
that
like
kind of stuff.
chicken
So we can
nuggets
go back
more
to
than
that.
I like hugging chickens.
Well, sure.
Agreed.
But like,
Agreed.
what about something like doing makeup experiments on monkeys? Like, where do you draw the line on
Well,
that?
they look
Like, how
fabulous,
does the
don't
bug
they?
empire, Nate, help you answer the makeup monkey question?
Yeah.
Simply because the same principle applies. So, okay, monkeys are monkeys
God
are
damn it.
really retarded and stupid.
Fuck
But monkeys are okay some of the
God
time.
damn it.
Like, okay, the thing, why do humans, care about dogs, right? It's because dogs, are generally like loyal and they like your scent, and they get used to you and they like it.
And they're cute.
They'll
they're
be
cute
nice
and
to you.
whatever.
Right, and they're also like attractive visually.
Most
They're
of the
cute.
time.
They're cute.
Attractive.
And most
Yeah,
importantly,
they're highly attractive.
most importantly, that they're subservient. Like if all dogs
Yeah,
were
sure,
like by
right,
default like vicious, and you had to tame every single one, we wouldn't like dogs. We'd kill them. They'd
And
be
also
like
all
wolves
dogs
and,
go to
and
heaven.
lions.
And also all dogs would have
Yeah, because they're pure of heart, unlike humans.
Yeah. Unlike
Okay, but
humans.
here's the thing about dogs. So we enjoy their company as a species very much. We've bred them to be that way, and that may or may not have issues. But assuming that that's just how it was, no problem there. But at the current day, like people like dogs because they're nice to us. But does that and that's
Current
why
day
we don't
discussing animal rights.
and that's why like we care about them in general as a species. But like, is there anything? Do we know that a dog really? What is the value of a dog's life to itself? If you kill a dog,
Is
what
a dog
does that
not
do?
entitled to the sweat of his own brow?
I know. I don't think that he is.
Well, Nate, I
don't-
think if you kill a dog, I think it won't know that it's dead because it's be dead.
Well, a
So-
human that doesn't know that it's
Well,
dead
yeah.
either.
Exactly.
That's so. What's the standard for not being allowed to kill? Just as one example of something you can do to it, or
well,
enslave.
you're allowed to kill a dog. It's not like you go to jail for it.
That's not actually true all the time.
That's there's laws. There's animal abuse laws and stuff.
Right. And we're here saying revoke them. Trump, revoke that shit. It's time to go back, make America great again. Let me kill my dog.
Single greatest social issue facing us today. I'm a one issue voter, guys. I vote for whichever candidate will let me kill my dog.
Okay, but to get back to the point that Mumkey was making about like using animals for makeup testing and stuff, like, okay, so clearly the animals don't seem to enjoy that too much, right? That they're not into it in general, and you could call that mistreatment. But how much should we actually care about the suffering of any animal? And in this case, we're talking about a monkey, a monkey. I would say we should only really give a shit if it is like at a certain level of intelligence where it's like
Well,
cognizant.
See, you're
of
just
their
making it more
suffering?
complicated than
Yeah,
it
you're
has to
making-
be. Just,
Am I?
Here's
Am
what
I?
here's what I think.
just,
Like,
just appeal to your emotions. If you like the monkey
I
and you want
won't.
it to be happy,
No.
then you just let it. You know.
That's not good enough.
Here's the thing. Like, I would not like paint makeup on a monkey's face and then like I don't know, like blast it with a fire hose to see how much punishment it could take before the makeup wore off or something. Like, I wouldn't do that. I would feel like I was a shitty person if I did that. Therefore, I think it's a shitty thing to do, and they shouldn't do it. I mean, that's
Why do you feel that way? Is it because you're anthropomorphizing that monkey and projecting the feelings that you as a human would have if that happened to
It's
you?
because they
which
share
may or
like
may not apply to it?
99% of our DNA.
We share like 50% of our DNA with a fucking banana,
And
but
I
we
feel
still don't
sorry
worry
for
about how
bananas and the
bananas
monkeys
feel.
eat them.
It's more
Yeah,
than
I bet
50
you
for
do.
the banana. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Whatever.
we know, we understand faces and two eyes and stuff. Monkeys have like a face. You know,
Yeah, I
as
don't
a
know.
as a human human animal, we recognize a monkey's face and we think, he's got emotions, he's got a face, he's got a family.
But we don't know that. That's an assumption
it's
being
true.
made.
Yeah,
It's
but
true
we're
that we can't-
imperfect beings. We're not robots, Nate. We can't be robots.
We
You'll
should
never
strive
be a
for
robot.
perfection,
You will
guys.
never
We
be a
should
fucking
strive
robot.
for a better
It's true.
system.
It's true that we can't know that the monkey has feelings like our own, but we can't know that about one another either. We can't see into each other's minds any more than we can see into the monkeys.
We can make logical distinctions about what other humans are experiencing. I'm just saying that
Well,
it's more difficult.
we can make informed guesses.
Well, that's all we can ever do about anything in our entire
and that's
lives.
what we're doing when we say, "Oh, this monkey looks like it's in pain. I feel bad."
Right. No, okay, but I'm saying, why should we care that it's in pain? What is the standard
Nate,
we're using to give a shit
I have an
about
answer
that? That's
for
a real
you.
question.
I have an
That
answer
is a real
for you.
question.
Because when we decided this would be the topic, when it comes to monkey rights, I'm not even memeing here. It's something that I'm actually kind of passionate about, and I knew I was going to get emotional talking about it. And when, as we all know, when I get emotional on this show, I don't give the best arguments. So I actually wrote something up that I wanted to read about monkey rights. Okay, if you guys are
Does
ready.
this only apply to monkeys, or does this apply to other
Just for
animals, too?
monkeys. Other animals
Okay,
I don't care as much about, but I got a thing for monkeys. Does somebody have like a bird chirping in the background?
Sorry, my window's open. You want me to close it? I'll get that.
The bird is very
it.
distracting. Ben.
That
Fucking
bird was
Ben.
vaping.
All right. In present-day America, the monkey is still not free. The life of the monkey is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination. The monkey lives on a lonely island of poverty in the midst of a vast ocean of material prosperity. The monkey is still languished in the corners of American society and finds himself in exile in his own land. And so we've come here today to dramatize a shameful condition. In a sense, we've come to our nation's capital to cash a check. When the architects of our republic wrote the magnificent words of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, they were signing a promissory note to which every American was to fall heir. This note was a promise that all men, yes, monkey men as well as white men, would be guaranteed the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Written by me.
Is that right? Written by you.
Yeah, exactly.
Good one. Good one.
So that's why I think,
I
monkeys
think I
should
heard
have
a
rights.
similar. Did I not hear a similar speech to that one time? I feel
No.
like it was,
That
Well-
speech came to me in a dream. I said, I have a dream of this speech.
Well, I agree with that. I hate black people though.
Oh my god.
Oh, all right.
Of course.
That was
We
my
set
bit.
it
That's
up.
why I wanted to do the episode.
Of course.
Now I'm done.
It's a good bit.
I'll see you guys in an hour for the questions.
Okay, can I just say I want to clarify just one thing about the argument, and it was just that. So we don't care, right? When you like squish an ant, nobody gives a shit. Does not matter.
Because ants are
nobody
only
cares.
bad. They're only negative forces on my life. They don't give me happiness like a monkey or a dog.
You're right. Well, right, but that's still kind of an emotional thing. But like, even when you get to
But
something like
being
a
happy
spider,
is intrinsically valuable. It's not just an emotion. It benefits my life in so many ways.
if I'm a serial killer and I enjoy killing humans, then that makes me happy, but it does not benefit.
Well, sure, but that's like
everybody else.
that's an offset. That's an outlier. We're talking like general humanity, not just the serial killers.
Well, but these are unanswered questions
Nate,
among human society.
I still don't understand at all what you're saying.
Okay, I was trying to get to that.
I feel like you've got. Yeah, go on, please. Lay out your thesis for us.
Okay, it's very clear to me. It's that okay. So we don't care if small insects or whatever die. That we don't spend a moment to consider their well-being whatsoever. And yet we do when it comes to things that start to get a little bit more, like us, like a hamster or a gerbil or whatever. And then of course we get to like a dog. Yeah, that's my dude. And when we get to something like a dog or, I don't know, like a deer, just like, and we care about dogs more than deers and shit. I don't know what the standard is. So what I'm getting at is, what exactly is the standard we're using for how much we care about the well-being of these animals?
So your thesis is just a question.
No. My thesis is I have the solution, and what we should do is we should measure the intelligence of each of these animals, make an actual determination about how, what their value is.
Nate.
But the thing is that applies to humans too.
Just rank
I'm aware that
that's
exactly what we should do, and you should take everyone as an individual, and
But there is no scale.
Right.
There is no scale, Nate. You can't just
that's what we should strive for.
You
Right.
can't
That's
just
what we should
fucking
work
measure
on.
everyone's IQ and be like, oh, here's where they fall on the spectrum of worth.
What a brave new world this is.
But we have to.
Yeah,
But we
I
have
think
to.
so.
What is your better solution?
My better solution is that you
Is to not give a
shut
fuck?
the
Is that
fuck
it?
up,
That's
you
what I
son
thought.
of a bitch.
I'm
All
trying
right,
to solve
Nate.
problems here. Okay, good.
Right.
Okay.
You said the thing about we don't care about insects. I mean, some people do, and if you anthropomorphize like an insect, if you watch it, you can be like, oh, look at him, he's gonna go get his lunch. Like you can make like little you can trick your brain into thinking of them as like.
You can be
more
like
human.
Carl Pilkington and convince yourself that you saw a bee have a heart attack from
Yeah.
overwork.
Right. That's right.
Stuff
My
like that.
hero.
So
He is just the perfect example of this shit.
and it's
He's the cutoff point for what is not worth human rights.
He's just below. He's just below the cutoff.
He's
point.
right on the cusp.
So basically, it's not like universal that we all hate bugs, but we all like monkeys. Some people hate monkeys.
Hey,
It's not even about hating. It's just about not caring about them.
Some people hate giraffes. Some people hate hippos. It's just the way it is. Some people.
It shouldn't be about hating. It should be about it's like whether we care about
Some
them or
people
not,
hate
though.
Pokemon.
Whether they're
some
worth,
people don't care about certain animals and they care about others.
Right.
The point I'm saying is that my stance when it comes to animals is that I think I'll respect them. I won't kick a puppy just for fun, but if he starts to kill me, then I will.
But if I want to eat that puppy, then I'll kick him.
Well, if I want to eat that
Well,
puppy,
that's
I'll tell
fine.
someone else to do it because I don't want to do that.
I'm aware that there are complications to this. Like, when a baby is born, like it can't sustain itself. So is it really valuable? Like you have to take like the potential of the organism into account.
Well, there you go. You
again.
dismantled your own argument.
No, I didn't.
Real
'cause
good.
There has never been a case of like an ant getting
All right,
intelligent
now
enough
here's-
to be worth caring about.
Right.
It's never happened.
Why do you care so much about the value?
I'll tell you why. Because
I know why.
Think about the
Starfleet,
long-reaching
okay, I don't care,
ramifications of our current
it just seems
idea
silly
systems.
to
That is
to
what I
bring that
worry
into
about. And
something
I'm just like, let's get a
what's the
good foundation
value
now so that we
of a
can be
dog?
ready for
Can
the
I-
future,
if
whatever
there's no
happens
value
then.
there, if you don't,
Also,
if you
dolphins
come
are
with your
smart enough
little,
that we should care about them, we should figure that out and stop killing
punching
them.
the numbers,
Things
you
like
Right,
that.
realize that this
so
dog
we can hook up
has
their
no
brains
value.
to our spaceship and use
Would
them
you
for
just
faster than light
kill it
travel,
immediately?
like,
Just
trying to make
wait,
Gunbuster happen.
Or is
I'm trying to make Gunbuster
is there
happen,
just like,
yes.
do you have any humanity at
Well,
all? Why do you
wanna-
care
here-
about the
here's what
value
I
so
think.
much
All right,
that it comes
here's my
into
thesis
everything
about
you
the whole
do?
thing. I think that like the only ethical system
What happened?
that is coherent at all and isn't like hypocritical is
Oh fuck! I had a whole
Yeah.
I had a whole thing, and I cut out. Ugh.
What happened?
I had a
I
whole.
guess we just couldn't hear him.
I had a whole thing, and I said it, and
Say it again. We can interrupt Ben. It's okay.
I'm listening.
the gist of what I was saying is, Nate, why do you care about the value so much when it comes to everything? If say you had a dog and you punched in the numbers in your little thing, you realize that it didn't have any value, would you just kill it right then and there, or do you have any humanity? Do you
not
do you
about
let any
just
of your
deciding
emotions
to kill
exist?
it. It's about worrying about it. It's about being concerned about its well-being. That's the issue. It's not like whether I'm just going to shoot things that I don't like. That's just not something I do.
I just
All
don't
right.
see why you care about like the intrinsic value of anything to the point where it comes into every like what should I worry about this? If you're worried about it, like on an instinctual
I'll
level.
tell you exactly why. Because human instinct is not good enough. We need logical systems to enforce human behavior in the right ways. That's what we need.
Hippo, I'm right there with you. I'm right on board with that exasperated sigh.
You see, you guys think that like, oh, well, how could he say that? That's never been done before. Except so much of human behavior today has been shaped by
we're not like shaking our
philosophies.
heads at what a rogue visionary you are. Like that's not.
Then what's the problem? Then what is the problem?
Because you're just fucking talking a bunch of shit, man.
Everything
you're
I've
just talking
said
a bunch
makes
of
perfect
bullshit.
sense.
I guess.
If the criticism is what I'm saying is too obvious, then that's great. Then I hope that's true.
No,
It's not that
it's
it's too
just-
obvious. It's just
it's
the
just-
way you're laying it out is just way too simplistic. And like,
And
you
it
haven't-
doesn't
you
have
haven't
any
solved
application
it.
in our life. It's just
Of course I
you're
haven't
such an
solved
airy
it.
fairy thinking about all these concepts all the time, and then you come to like real life, and then it doesn't matter. None of it matters.
Can't we just talk about specific
That's
things
wrong.
like
You're wrong.
overcrowding on chicken farms or like the way we treat a pig? Like instead of like these weird philosophical ideas that you have with Star Trek
cosmic-
and shit.
Not when Nate's on
Cosmic
the
stuff.
podcast. Come on.
You can
guys
talk
should
about
know by
anything you
now.
want.
Nate's always
all
on
right.
the podcast.
I'm so sorry for leading the conversation down a path that you guys can't follow because you're too fucking dumb.
I follow it. I just think it's
your little
retarded.
pea brains just can't comprehend the next level shit that's going
You're
on
too
up
smart
here.
for me,
okay?
Nate. I can't
That's
handle
right.
it.
I know. It's tough, man. It's
Well,
tough.
let me give my spiel. I think that the only thing that makes sense in life is to put yourself first and to put your own needs above everyone else's. Because if you don't do that, then what the fuck are you doing? Like if you say
Someone's been reading a little Ayn Rand over here.
Yeah,
What was
well-
wrong
This
with your
guy.
guys' parents?
well,
How did they raise these two monsters?
Well, if you're like
No, that makes sense though.
if you're like,
on some level.
fuck.
yeah, I'm willing to like sacrifice of myself, like if there are people that are like worse off than me. Well, there's always going to be people worse off than you. You can't help everyone. Like you can't do it. Like it just doesn't make any sense. You can't even live. Like unless I think that unless you accept that like I'm just looking out for myself, you either just
right.
can't live at all, or you're just going to be like wrapped in hypocrisy that you'll never solve and will never be acknowledged. So I think because like yeah, like you know, you watch out for yourself. You do what benefits you. You help the people. You can help the people that like you care about because helping them helps you, and that all makes sense and is fine. You can give to charity because it makes you feel like a good person or whatever. That's all fine. But ultimately, and this is just, I really think like I'm just arguing for basic human nature here, which I think should just be the default position. But I just think that's what makes sense, and I think that makes sense on a species level too. I think that humanity should just be like, okay, humanity should put humanity's needs first, and other like yeah, we can watch out for them because having them around benefits us. But when push comes to shove, and like it comes down to it, yeah, I really think that we should like to benefit ourselves, anything goes, and other animals just fuck them, right? Like they gotta watch out for themselves, even though they
So
can't.
if
We're
you-
just
Nate
lucky.
or
We're just
Ben-
lucky. We're lucky that other animals can't fight back.
Yeah, we get it. But
Yeah,
Ben,
yeah.
so like if you knew that your neighbor was like viciously beating his pet dog, you would say, well, I'm not going to get involved. I guess that's fine. Dogs should get beat if the guy wants to, whatever.
No, that'd make me mad.
How does that benefit you?
Because it makes me upset that the dog is being
Okay.
beat. I
Well,
don't
sure.
know.
So I guess it's on an individual level for everybody then, where if you personally don't want dogs to get beat, then go for it.
I guess so, yeah.
I'm fine with that.
All right.
I think there's enough good people in the world to stop all the dogs from getting abused all the time.
I would like to think so. I like to think
No,
most
I think
people.
I think there is, because if we appeal to the emotion, most people feel that way about dogs. So I think
Yeah, like
it's
on an
okay.
emotional level, most people are willing to eat meat, but also feel sad when they see an animal being harmed. You know?
Yeah, that's fair.
But that doesn't solve anything. That doesn't help the situation at all.
The-
because
well,
that's
it-
hypocrisy right there.
It doesn't
the problem,
solve
Nate,
anything.
The problem, Nate, is
because
that
that's just the
is
status
not an
quo.
issue. You say like, oh, the issue is like, you know, it's not what animals we should kill. It's like which animals should like what should we be worried about? Like
Right.
Like what? That's not a problem. That's not a problem that comes up in my everyday life.
See,
I'm not wondering what I should be worried about.
Just because it doesn't come up in your daily life does not mean it's not a problem. That's just
I don't see
blinding
how it's a
yourself to
problem.
things that you aren't aware of. But that's the whole issue, that you don't think it's a problem, because
Well,
it
what
could
is the
be a problem one day.
How
and we
could it
wanna
be a problem?
Okay, here's how it could be a problem. It is possible that every cow that we murder for us to eat actually is a conscious entity and is really upset about it, and we're just committing genocide every single day. That is possible, and I would like to look into that. And that's just one example, but I want to apply that logic across the board to make sure we're doing the right thing.
I'm pretty sure that cows don't like being killed.
That's why I said it's just one. Well, but that's the thing. Whether we should give a shit, because if it just is reacting to pain in its pain receptors, then
I think
okay,
people
fine.
react to pain exactly the same way. I don't think there's too much of a difference between a cow and a human when it comes to death.
Reacting to pain in our pain receptors is exactly what we do.
Then tell me, Gib, why do you care if a human dies and you don't care if a cow dies? What's the difference?
Well, I don't necessarily care if a human dies. It depends on who the human is.
You only care about things that affect you specifically.
I don't by default care about humans more than I care about cows. I hear about people dying in the news all the time. It doesn't affect me at all.
You would care if a human died in front of you or if a cow died in front of you. You would have a very different reaction to that.
Both the same, because it's death happening in front of me. It's very different.
That would not be the same.
From knowing that somewhere...
the same. No, they wouldn't be the same, but they would both disturb me.
Yeah, they would both disturb me. If seeing something in front of you is a lot different from knowing that something happens. I know slaughterhouses kill animals, and I eat the meat. I know people die in horrific wars, and I don't eat that meat. They don't sell that meat. But, like, if I were to see either of those things in real life, I would get upset and disturbed and want it to stop. But I don't see it in real life. I don't see it all the time. It's just out of my vision.
But just because,
the problem right now, Nate, is that
you are
you're
saying
thinking...
nothing of value. You are saying nothing of value. If I don't see it, it's not a problem.
No,
that is
Tom
what you're saying.
hasn't talked yet.
The whole thing is that, Nate, you're talking, again, from like a grand kind of like humanitarian vision of just like, we need to set a precedent that sets all of human behavior and elevates all of humanity as a species. Where Gib is just saying, I'm just trying to live my life, and 99% of the time, I don't give a fuck about any of this because it doesn't affect me personally. It's two different just lifestyle choices and like philosophical perspectives on how to run yourself.
What I was doing there is I was just trying to explain to Nate why I don't care about his issues.
Right,
that he
because
seems to have.
you're not concerning yourself with the long-standing.
But that's not an argument against anything I'm saying. You're just saying you don't care.
Yeah, and I'm explaining why I'm sighing every time you bring this up because I think it doesn't matter. That's why I was saying it.
It doesn't matter to you. Okay, got it. Doesn't matter to you. It does matter to me.
Every week, it's just Nate comes. It's the Nate presents some like grand vision of like how humanity needs to change like now.
That's right.
That's why I listen to this show.
And we all just listen and sigh.
Nate just needs to start a new podcast called Nate Fleet, where it's all about creating a better humanity.
I want to be a guest on there.
The best future ever.
Can I be the co-pilot on that ship?
I'll have to figure that out. I don't know if you're qualified. We
So,
need
hey,
high-level
Nate,
people.
just to bring this down, let's take it down from the grand philosophy thing. Let's just look at some specific examples, and then you can use your philosophy to answer.
The only reason I start grand is because you can...
I like that.
That's
monkey.
the idea.
That's good.
So, like, for example, slaughterhouses with cows, they're kept in these little bins where they can't move. They can't even step forward or sit down. They're stuck standing all day to keep their meat nice and plump and juicy and all that shit. And then if you're killing, what's it called? Kosher? If you're going to kill a cow the kosher way, which is like the Jewish bullshit, you have to hang it upside down and then cut it and then it bleeds out and it's very painful and torturous. So what do you think about all that shit? Is that okay?
Okay, so here's the thing. I think cows are under the standard of intellectually caring about them, so I'm fine with all of it. Totally don't care. It can go on all day.
I'm okay with killing cows to eat them, and I'm not trying to... I don't know why we brought in vegan shit at the beginning, because that's retarded. I'm okay with eating chickens and cows and meat, but I'm not okay with it being tortured in order to die. I think you can just kill it in a second. You don't have to torture that fucker like the kosher way.
Well, here's the thing. I think that I am logically consistent on this point because I say I am not interested. I do think that it is not worth worrying about the well-being of a cow, and that applies to every aspect of its life. You can torture it, you can do whatever you want to, chop off all its legs, bleed it out for its whole life, fill its veins with acid. Those are all equally things that I am not concerned about.
Just
about
because
the life
it's
of a
not
cow.
as smart as you.
That's correct.
But Nate,
that's correct.
But Nate, if you were there in the slaughterhouse and they were like, "Hey, best guy ever. Come here a minute." on the one hand, here's like a bolt gun, like you're working at the slaughterhouse because I don't know. Just shut up. Stop criticizing me.
Okay.
Here's a bolt gun. You got to kill this cow. Here's a thing that you could like just jam a rod into this cow's head and it would be dead in a second. Alternatively, we'll pay you like slightly more if you will like hang this cow up and gently slit its skin in some points, and like you need to watch it bleed out for like an entire like several hours.
Like that scene from Reservoir Dogs. You got to play the song and dance around and stab it and shit.
Okay, so we can assume I'll get more money for doing something way worse, is the idea.
Yeah. Like, would you just be fine? Would you be like, oh, well, okay, it marginally benefits me, so I guess I'll just do it this other way, and that's fine. Would you just be fine with that?
I hear what you're saying, and here's the thing, and the issue is, like, this is totally involved, but is not a sort of a part of the logical framework. But, okay, so to answer your question, I would not do that, no, and I think it is for a very reasonable, reason.
Okay,
it's that
why?
I am a normal human being with all my emotional, societal conditioning built into me, which just informs me that yes, these things are weird and gross and uncomfortable to do, and I've never killed anything in my life.
This is why I feel like you say you're not being like hypocritical with your point. You're consistent on your point.
That's your job.
Yeah. But you say you're being consistent on your point, but even then, as a normal human, you recognize that you will, think differently from your big philosophical idea that cows are not important. Because
that's a nuanced point there.
Well, I understand, Nate, that what you're saying is that, like, ideally, logically, it should not matter what we do to this cow. And whereas like your human you can't divorce yourself from your human emotional response, even though like intellectually you know that it's fine, but it still feels wrong because of lizard brain or whatever. Well, I mean, I guess I understand that point. Here's where I disagree with you. I don't think it makes sense to say, oh, here's a cutoff point, because Carl Pilkington, who's just above the cutoff point, and like a silverback gorilla who's just below it. They're very similar to each other. Like there's not a meaningful like distinction between two things that are very close but on opposite sides of that cutoff point. I really think you have to look at it as a spectrum. Or
I am fully willing to look at it as a spectrum.
But
the cutoff point is a little too extreme.
Yeah, but then the problem with that is that at no point on the spectrum does the value become 0. Except at the very end, until you get to an inanimate object. So even like a fucking, if it's a spectrum, then even like a microbe has some minuscule amount of value that should be taken under some minuscule amount of consideration. You never hit a cutoff point where you're like, okay, under this anything goes. Right?
I think that you just have to involve practicality. Like, what's practical?
That's what your emotional response that's telling you, oh, doing this to the cow is wrong. That's what your emotional response is telling you. Like, oh, even though this cow is not as valuable as a human, it still has some value, and I still have some empathy for it. Right?
Well, the empathy just comes from us assuming that it feels the same way
I'm saying that your logical response, that your emotional response there makes logical sense, based if you view it as like an intelligent spectrum.
Only to some extent.
The way it seems, Nate, is that you're going into this logical situations, with the idea that if you were a robot and you didn't have any emotions, this is what you would come to the conclusion with. This is what you would say. And then, on the other hand, you have the reality that you wouldn't actually say that because you are a human. And I don't know why you have that non-human robotic way of thinking, even in consideration, because it can't happen right now. You're not a robot. It doesn't make any difference.
Our systems of laws, our law system already is a divorce from emotional stuff. We already have systems in place that do stuff like this.
I'm sympathetic to the idea of viewing things unemotionally and like trying to come to logical conclusions without bringing emotion into it. I think that
emotion does
sense.
not mean best, by the way. We're trying to come to the best solution, which may or may not be our built-in human emotional response.
You're trying to come to the best solution. We were just talking about our opinions.
Okay, well, let me say one point that is to Gibbs' point, to agree with what Gibbs' been saying. All right, yeah, here it is. Okay, here's the thing, though. Given the reality of what human beings are, if I met a man who told me that his hobby was, like, he's a farmer or whatever, and he has cows, his hobby is to, like, drain the blood out of the cows and fill their veins with acid. He liked to do it because it was fun, and he liked watching them scream and die. If he told me that, I would be like, my logic would still apply that, their lives don't matter. But what does matter is the kind of human being who would do that sort of thing
Is a psycho.
Is a psychopath, is not a person who, is a valuable member of the human race. Probably. Like, they are a freak, and it is logical that they might also do those sorts of things to human beings. And so you can logically form from that position, like, okay, this guy has problems. I don't like him. I condemn his actions. On that basis, you can still condemn, things that are clearly bad that we don't like, even if, like the things being tortured are not inherently valuable.
Well, I want to say something about that torture and the cow thing.
Okay.
The whole thing with the kosher meat being, you have to cut it by the neck and drain its blood until it's all gone, and that's the only way Jews can eat that. And halal meat is very similar, and that I don't agree with, because to get the meat out of the cow, you just need to kill it, and to torture it like that is just, it's a religious thing. You don't need to do that to get the meat out, though. If you gave a Jew something that wasn't kosher meat, he wouldn't be able to tell.
He'd
There
have
is
no
real
fucking
difference.
idea.
We could all agree that these kind of traditions are retarded.
Yeah,
as fuck.
traditions are
course,
retarded.
yeah.
So, what I would say is that if there's something like, if you like beef, you have to kill a cow, and I'm like, well, I like beef. I like eating beef more than I care about some cow I don't know dying. So I'm okay with it dying in the least harmful way possible, because that's just the nicest thing to do, is just to hope that it's the least harmful possible and they're not being tortured. That's just, I think that's a lot of people's general stance, is they like meat, but they'd rather, the cow lives a happy enough life and then dies instantly without feeling any pain.
Yeah, I'm on Hippo's side on that one.
Yeah, like
You're definitely right.
Everything dies eventually. If you give him a quick death, like, what have we really lost here?
I mean, everything should die. I think dying will be eternal bliss. I just don't want to be tortured before I die, and I think animals probably feel the same way.
Do you think the cow will get 72 virgins in heaven, Monkey?
Oh, is he halal or not?
Yeah. This cow prays 5 times a day.
If this cow
Did he strap a
to...
bunch of bombs to his udder and blow up the barn?
He was just about to,
Well,
but
if
then
you
he
don't
got
do that,
slaughtered.
you don't get those virgins.
Damn it.
Oh man. What if he died to feed some like ISIS fighters? Like some real heroes.
Is Muslim cow a friend of Action Giraffe?
Absolutely, they're best friends. He's like
ISIS
the.
cow.
As we all know, Action Giraffe is a globetrotting, cinema superstar, and Muslim Cow is his like token racial friend that's in the movies, like as a sidekick.
Muslims are race.
Muslim Cow is down there in Pokemon Hell, just real salty that he didn't quite get the chance to carry out his terrorist attack.
Holy shit!
He
Somebody
got
draw
slaughtered
Muslim
the
Cow.
day
That's my
before.
favorite character.
The day before he was gonna do it.
Oh, I get it. It'd be like having a burqa on the cow, because it's a cow, because of milk, female burqa.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that
I
makes
guess it
sense.
would. I was
'Cause
thinking
it
male,
would look
but...
like a big black something or other, big like a rock almost.
I got a big black something or other for you, Hippo.
God, I don't know. Okay, I feel like I got out pretty much my whole position on this shit. Maybe there's some more specifics we can talk about. Anyone got any things
I
that
haven't
really
said my
offend them?
position at all. And as,
okay, yeah, Tom,
and
go ahead.
as the only vegetarian, I feel like I have something.
Oh, that's right. I always forget. I always forget that you're a vegetarian, Tom.
Yeah. So,
I forgot I have no respect for you.
Yeah, no, that's well, okay.
Lay it down.
I mean,
dog.
I'm not gonna. There's like that's the whole thing. Is that like, despite the fact that I'm vegetarian, I'm not like. It's not something I like project out in the world, and that's why I'm happy that everyone forgets, because that means I'm not making a big deal out of it, and that's a good sign.
I guess you're doing it right.
Yeah, right. So like that is when people don't know, that's a good thing. But no.
By the way, I do feel like it makes sense for a lot of the like emotional vegetarians to like project like, guys, you're killing cows, stop it. Okay, but anyway, sorry. Go on.
I mean, I think that if that's your position, that's your like. I just care about whether a person is consistent in what they believe.
I guess so.
I
I'm
try-
just saying I don't blame like the crazy vegans out there, because to them they really think that all around them are mass murderers, and they're like, what's happening here? Where am I? Like I get it. If that's your view, that's pretty fucked up.
Well,
They're wrong though. They're wrong, but whatever.
Well, I mean, my perspective is just that I think that ethical consideration shouldn't be given on any basis of intelligence. It should be on the capacity to feel pain, because you don't have to be intelligent to suffer. If you're feeling pain, like it's uncomfortable, it sucks, and I don't like it. Like, I don't know about you, I try to avoid pain as much as possible because I fucking hate it, because it's the worst. So I don't eat meat anymore because, like, I'm uncomfortable. I don't try and have a meal or anything that I wouldn't be comfortable preparing, like, start to finish myself, like, in all the actions. So I don't have meat. I don't kill insects or shit. I try not to, at least. Like, if there's, like, a big spider in the house and someone wants to kill it, I'll, like, take it and I'll bring it outside, because, like, I have this, like, innate respect for life, and I don't think it doesn't make any logical sense. It's not even probably, like, the correct thing to do, but just, like, that's just my perspective. I feel that all life has value.
Hey, Tommy, can I hit you with a hypothetical on that one?
Sure, go for it.
So let's say you discover, there's a big old mouse in my house, and he's tearing up my shit. He's eating all my food. Would you put a mouse trap, or would you just let him live there? Because you can't catch that fucker. He's running around like crazy.
That was actually going to be my next point. Is that, like, when you have there's exceptions when it comes to be like pests and stuff. Like, if you have a termite infection in your house and they're fucking everywhere, or you're infested with mice, because we've had mice in the house before. It's a little different because, like, now they're directly affecting, like, your domicile life, and your health, essentially, because, like, if you have an infestation, that can, like, quickly, like, spread disease and fuck you up. So, like, at that point, it kind of comes under the same umbrella as, like, self-defense. Like, if a dude came in my house with a gun and tried to kill me, like, I'd be chill with killing him, because, like,
oh hell yeah.
So it's the same thing with, like, if your fucking house is infested with shit and you're gonna die, like, you got to get rid of that too. So, like, you know, at the end of the day, like, again, kind of like what Ben was saying, you put yourself first and shit like that. But, like, I try to just, like, go through life and not cause harm in general, try and, like, stay in my lane, so to speak, like, actualize myself to the best of my abilities without interfering with anyone or anything else intentionally. So that's my general philosophy, and that's why I don't eat meat anymore. I don't, like, kill bugs or, like, mice or anything like that. Like, I try and
the thing
keep
with
that
bugs
shit.
is I don't kill bugs either, but usually because, you know, I can safely get them outside the house, or they're not bothering me. Like, if there's a spider in like a very far corner of the attic or something, he can stay. You know, I'm not going to go there.
Spiders are people too.
Spiders are people too.
Right. If
there's like a spider, like, on my computer, behind my computer, I'm like, eventually I'm going to have to go back there, so I have to get rid of this guy. But killing him there's going to be bug juice everywhere. I don't want that.
True.
So I don't kill things mostly because there's no benefit to me killing them aside from, like, a visceral reaction to stop something existing. But I'm, you know, I generally like to not kill things unless there's no other way.
Didn't there used to be a soft drink called Bug Juice that had, like, cartoon characters on the lid?
Oh, you know, bug juice is, like, a thing I had at Boy Scout camp all the time, which was kind of just, like, a cocktail of different, like, fruit punch mixes and stuff. Like, it was never very good, but they would just put, like, whatever kind of juice shit they had around.
But they'd have, like, Yu-Gi-Oh's head on it or some shit, right?
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
Does anybody remember that?
I don't even know what you're talking about, but I'll take your word for it.
I remember watching Kids WB, and there'd be commercials for Bug Juice all the time.
I don't know. I just
when
know
Hippo
it's like a Boy
said that,
Scout
it
thing.
sparked my nostalgia.
It sounds vaguely familiar, so I maybe it exists.
Okay, I want to ask Tom something about that, though.
Okay.
About his pain stuff. It's not really challenging you, but, like, so I think I would just want to ask, to be the most consistent with your philosophy, would you say that, like, the sort of ideal version of that would be Jainism, which is this religion that is 100% focused on causing zero harm to any other living creature, to the point where they wear masks at all times to avoid breathing in bugs and accidentally swallowing them and killing them, you know, in that kind of way. And they're always careful to not step on bugs or anything. Would you say that's, like, the ultimate extreme?
I think it's going a little too far, and the reason I think I always say when I explain my philosophy, I always say it's like, you know, be like maximize your own happiness without intentionally causing anybody else harm. I think intentionally is really important because lots of the times, in order to maximize your own happiness, you have to unintentionally harm somebody else.
Right.
An example I use a lot of the times is like, if you're going for your dream job and there's one position for it, like in order to maximize your own happiness, you got to shit on someone else's dream by denying them the job. So like, if you're in a situation where like
doesn't
I
make,
can't
doesn't
harm,
make any sense.
I
Doesn't
can't
make any
harm
sense
other
not to do
people.
it.
Right.
Like then all of a sudden you're basically like causing yourself pain, and like the whole point is to not cause pain. So if you're causing yourself pain, it's the most like,
somebody in that situation, somebody's got to suffer. So it might as well be the other guy.
Well,
right?
that's when like the capitalistic system makes more sense, because it's then like you both try as hard as you can, and the one who is more capable gets rewarded and prospers, and that's what we want. That's what we want.
Exactly. So it's like if there are unintentional consequences, as long as you're not intentionally or maliciously harming anybody else, it seems to be okay. Because you're not like there's.
No, I don't think it's okay to just be like, well, if I didn't mean to do it, then it's all hunky dory.
Well, there's
okay, go on.
There's obvious exceptions. Like if you fucking like brutally murder somebody like with your car, it's like, oh, I didn't mean to do it. I should just be able to go home. There's degrees of stuff, but like just as a general guideline, like you're trying to do the best that you can without intentionally or maliciously hurting other people. I feel is like a good kind of general standard to live your life.
I agree in so far as you can't really actively try. Like if it's unintentional, it's unintentional. Like you can't set out to do less unintentional harm because the unintentional harm is outside your control. And yet, like, unintentional harm is still just as bad as intentional harm. So I don't know. I feel like I don't think it's any worse to do something intentionally bad than to do it unintentionally.
Well,
in the grand scheme of things.
The reason that's incorrect is because when people do things intentionally wrong, that creates a pattern of behavior that you can use to determine what their actions are likely to be in the future. So you can say that they are both equally damaging to the world, but you do know when something is intentional versus unintentional that that person is likely to continue this kind of action, whereas if it was intentional,
sure,
I think intentional. Despite the effects being the same, I think intentional is always worse for you. Like if I'm talking more like a code of conduct and less for like physical ramifications on the rest of the world, and that's where I think that distinction becomes important. Like back to the job example, there's a difference between me going in for an interview and then you going in for an interview and you winning out over me. Like that was you just being the better candidate or whatever. That's unintentional harm. But if like we talked on the train and we were both going for the same job and you fucking made sure that I didn't get off the train at the right time, so I missed my interview and you got the job by default, that's intentional harm.
Yeah, see, like different. that guy is a bad dude, right? You just if he's done that. We're aware that this is a shady person and we don't want them doing that.
I'm pretty confused because I've never seen a cow go into a job interview.
Right. Well, I'm talking about that. We're kind of moving away from animal rights.
Haven't you read The Far Side? Haven't you read The Far Side, dude? Come on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
On belly washers. The drink was called belly washers.
On the subject of meat, I want to say something like some people will be like, yeah, I know it's bad that the cow gets killed for this meat, but like the cow's already dead, so like it's not bad if I eat it.
That's so stupid.
And I don't agree with that because it's like supply and demand, right? Because like if you're buying the meat, you're contributing to the demand, and you're indirectly, but you're still like supporting this system.
For sure. I mean, that's why I don't do it. Like it is kind of like in terms of like practicality, it's like like the deed's already done, and you're just kind of consuming flesh, but at the same time, again, you're contributing to the system.
You're leading to it happening more.
My mindset is that I want to, like, if I was doing that myself, I would be uncomfortable with it, and therefore I don't participate.
But it gets a little more complicated, to me at least, when you think about the fact that the cows that are being slaughtered for this meat are being bred specifically for that purpose. So it's
their life wouldn't even exist without this demand, right?
Yeah,
okay. So
in
wouldn't
a sense. Yeah. So that's where I get a little. Oh man.
Well, they're still a living creature, and they're still feeling pain. And
what is a net? But are we talking about that? That's when it gets tough. Like, how do you measure like goodness? Do you judge it by net life enjoyed by all creatures on the planet?
don't.
Because by that
You don't
definition,
measure it.
every baby that we do not have, like, just everyone should be out fucking all the time to produce more humans, to have more enjoyment.
You don't
We're trying
measure
to
it,
maximize
Nate.
that.
That's not a thing that you do.
You don't measure it, but I'm
if
talking
you're-
about systems where we do.
But if you're trying to come up with like a schema of like what
Right,
is
right.
good and like what is a world worth pursuing,
I thought we were talking
then
about
you have
cows, though.
These are all relevant questions. These are all relevant.
All
Nate
right,
keeps taking it in these.
keep it to cows. Keep it to cows. Talk about what could be gooder about cows.
Okay.
I think
It's
Nate's
possible.
Nate's baby example is germane.
Well, it doesn't matter because it also applies to cows. Oh wait, germane means good. I forgot.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So just to apply it to cows, if we got 2 cows and you don't eat meat, so you just let them live out their lives and they die. Let's say they don't have kids or whatever. Then that's fine. But if you are a meat farmer and you take those 2 cows and you breed them and you make a whole fucking fleet of cows, by the end. And so let's say you've got like 1,000 cows now. But after how long does a cow live? Let's say after like 5 years. You slaughter them and kill them. Maybe that's a lot shorter. I don't know. But you slaughter them and you kill them. And let's say you do it in a generally humane way, not like torturing them with like the Jews love to do. And you kill them and you eat them and you sell it and whatever. So in that equation, the one guy had like 2 cows and they had a great life. You lived with them. They were like your pets. They were your buddies. And then they died. As opposed to a world where you've got now 1,000 cows who all had pretty good lives, but they did end violently as they were killed. So like which of those is a happier situation for the world?
I mean,
Well,
I'm not
for the
talking
world,
about the
I think
world,
it's
I'm
happier
talking about
because now people have
individuals.
things to eat.
Well, let's just focus on the cows' lives.
Well,
Just
if
in
we're
isolation.
focusing
If it's
just
the
on the
cows'
cows.
lives, it's definitely the first situation.
I don't
Why?
know, man. No,
Why?
I think there's something like if a
Well, that's
thousand
why
if 1,000 cows live okay lives versus 2 cows living
Okay.
good lives. I mean,
Right, but
maybe the
we're-
1,000 had
Well,
more
why would
combined
this-
good.
why would-
We're talking about. I don't think. I guess maybe my differentiation here is like I don't think. I don't think quantity has anything to do with it.
Yeah, why would the why would
'cause you're
1,000
very
cows?
Well, that
individualistic.
can't
Right,
be
let
true
me-
because benefiting
why-
2 people is better than benefiting 1, isn't it?
Can I
hang
just
on,
say
let
why?
Gideon
We're
Why?
talking about the
why?
quality
Why?
of the life.
God fucking damn it! Can I say what I want to say? Jesus
Let the man
Christ!
speak.
Why would 1,000 cows live worse lives than just 2? Why is that part of it?
No, it's just because we kill them at the end. We kill them for meat after several years.
Is that it?
That's why. Yeah, that's it. In this example,
I
that's the
thought
only difference.
dying of old age is also painful.
It probably is. It probably is.
Then what's the difference?
Well, you could say the time that was lived between the two. Like, those two had a higher quality life overall. They lived, let's say, 10 years, and
This
then
is
they died
like
of
a
natural causes.
hypothetical scenario we're laying out.
No, this is totally
Oh.
applicable to real life.
Well,
like,
never
we're
mind
talking
then.
about how we should treat animals.
Well, okay. Why is it okay to arbitrarily kill something after it's been deemed by someone else that their function has been served? Now they're going to keep going.
Well, you could argue that it isn't.
Well-
I don't, because I don't care about cows' lives. So that's my position.
Well, I
But
mean,
you do,
I
obviously.
do. So I think that's kind of ridiculous. It's like saying like, oh, like, what if the state took care of me and my family and I had like 7 kids, but like once I turned 40 they fucking killed me and used my body for medical purposes.
But
Like,
just to Ben's point, Ben was just making a question about, which of those is a better world? Which world has produced more joy? The fact
Well,
that
if all the
1,000
cows had a decent life, then by virtue of the more cows having more of a good life, they all add up to something gooder.
Well,
Like,
it's-
I don't know
we're
how
ta-
you're
we're talking
measuring
about-
this.
We're talking about 1,000 cows whose lives is like not great, but like it's just good enough that like it's not terrible.
Right,
Like
well,
it's
I
just
mean-
but it's just worth living. Versus 1 cow that had like this cow had a good ass life.
Well,
You know
why?
what I mean?
Why is that?
What do you mean
is
why?
that
This
two-
is the hypothetical
No.
that I'm laying out.
Okay, all right, fine. That's the hypothetical. I thought it was a different hypothetical. But if that's the hypothetical, I would say, I mean, that's stacked in favor of the 2 cows having a great life. But I'm just saying, if there's 2 cows and they die of old age, and if you have 1,000 cows that get killed, if they still have a decent life, like there's no, it's better to have more cows because there's more meat, and that impacts more people than 2 cows that don't give any meat. Even if the cow,
Sure.
if we're talking about just the cows,
Well,
I don't think it makes too much of a difference if there's 1,000 cows or 2 cows, unless you explicitly say that the 2 cows have a much better life.
Well, that's
Which is
what
why
I
I think
said.
it's a weird hypothetical that there's only one answer to that. Of course, it's the 2 cows.
All right.
disagree.
To me, it seems obvious that 1,000 cows that like from like a logical standpoint, 1,000 cows living mediocre lives is probably more happiness overall than one or two cows living real good lives. But hey, that's just a theory, a game theory. Thanks for watching.
I think from that, sense of logic, I think we should be making as many people as possible, making as many cows as possible.
That's
But
the logical application.
You could also say that because all those cows die, and that's sad, that we should have no cows, we should have no people, we should have absolutely nothing, because then there'll be no sadness in the world, there'll be no pain, there'll be no death. It's just I don't see how any of this fits together. I'm getting really heated right now.
To go back to my original point, which is what I guess we were trying to talk about, is like I'm thinking more along the terms of not enabling happiness, because I don't think there's any way to like guarantee happiness. I think, at least for human beings, that's up to you. Like, you can only like set up potential for happiness, but like it's your own actions that determine whether you're happy or not. The kind of philosophy I follow is about avoiding causing pain, and by that extension avoiding suffering. And
so, I think Tom, can I challenge your philosophy with another question?
Yeah, I'm down to discuss. Go.
So plants and fish are very similar in that neither feel pain, and you have to kill both of them to eat them. So why do you not eat fish?
I've asked myself that question. I think it's because it goes that's much more of just like a personal discomfort, because they're still alive, and I wouldn't want to deny something.
But isn't a plant alive too?
I think it's just that fish have eyes, and we have eyes.
I've thought about that a lot, because it's like, okay, by that same philosophy, it is still hypocritical to have plants. You'd have to subsist basically on nothing but like nuts and berries, essentially. That's what the
nuts have lives. Nuts have potential for lives.
And as Sonichu discovered after he evolved with his new body, nuts and apples just won't cut it. Wait, is that true though? Do fish not feel pain? How do we know that?
I've heard that.
They don't feel pain because they're not smart enough to feel pain. I just read it.
Well,
let's just assume that that's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure it is.
I've heard it before as well. It's either a very popular myth or there's some science somewhere.
Personally,
even if we put in a hypothetical animal that's like that, though, we could still,
I mean, personally, the fact that fish don't feel pain. Say if I was vegan or vegetarian, I would still not eat fish just because of that emotional attachment, because they have eyes and a mouth, and I'm like, oh, it's a guy, it's a person. I can very easily anthropomorphize a fish. It's very difficult to anthropomorphize a plant without making it, an animal with plant-like qualities.
Right. Because at the end of the day, this philosophy like completely kind of comes into conflict with just like the structure of like how life on this planet works. Because it's all designed to like kind of like we're the entire planet is basically one like macro organism, and we're all parts of it, and that means we all are interdependent. So you can only resist this to a certain degree unless you just want to kind of give up yourself and die and kind of go back into the soil and become fuel for something else. So like it's inherently
the ultimate act of vegetarianism is suicide.
It's not even like a joke when you really get fucking like super deep into it, which is why like I don't go out and like evangelize it or try and like make a big deal out of it, because like to do it is like definitely an act of hypocrisy to a degree, like the farther you go down that path.
Well, Tom, it sounds to me like what you're saying is sort of at the logical end of vegetarianism lies, this sort of rejection of the systems that keep human beings alive, or allows
to a certain degree.
That's possibly true along the vegetarian lifestyle. I would challenge the vegetarian ideology at its core, because I think that, and then my whole argument at the beginning of this podcast was that was a challenge to why they think the way they do, and why I don't think that it is necessary to concern ourselves with the lives of animals, at least to the extent that vegetarians do, or vegans, or those guys who take it to that extreme.
Living itself is kind of a selfish thing to do, because to keep yourself alive, you have to consume resources, and if you get a job, someone else doesn't get that job, and all that, and it's a bitter struggle for resources and position and status and money and sex and all that stuff, and so that's why I really think that if you don't to live at all is to look out for number one above all else. And if you don't acknowledge that, I really think you're just kidding yourself.
Ben, not to suck my own dick too hard, but I think the only difference between our two positions here is that we both accept that living is a fairly selfish thing to do in general, and that you consume. So we agree on that. But you seem to be okay at pretty much leaving it at that, whereas I am interested in continuing on to try to investigate the ideal situation where we're causing the least harm possible. That's what I'm interested in finding
I am totally content with leaving it at that.
There you go. Okay. Okay, well, that was pretty juicy. Anyone got any more points to make? Anybody? Yeah. I'll pull them up. But anybody got any more points to make?
I think frogs should take over as the main species on Earth. I don't like humans. We have stupid podcasts that suck, and they've really shot themselves in the foot by making those.
A frog never made a shitty
I
podcast.
think me and Tom need to go out to dinner, and he needs to prepare me the greatest vegetarian meal of all time, so I can.
There
see
are no good
if it's any
vegetarian
good.
meals.
Well, then fuck it.
Tom is good. Tom accepts that the vegetarian lifestyle is shit, but he does it anyway.
I was almost sold, but
that's the weird thing. I know some good vegetarian things. Like
actually,
I like a lot of vegetarian.
There are good vegetarian
foods.
meals. I'm just a terrible vegetarian.
Totally.
cook.
I actually like tofu.
The thing,
It's very hit or miss for me.
I didn't even bring this up at all, but I actually would love to be a vegetarian, specifically for the nutritional benefits. Like if you're a vegetarian, you will not be fat. You just won't be fat. It's not going to happen
Because you're starving to death.
unless you're like a shitty one.
No,
maybe
come
vegan.
on.
Vegan is more
You can eat high fructose corn syrup as a
right.
As a
I'm
All right,
revising that. I should have said vegan.
Here's the thing you can do for a vegetarian meal. You get a bunch of vegetables and some olive oil, and you put it all in a pan. You just chop it up a bit, onions, peppers, asparagus, all sorts of things. You put them in a pan, and you just roast it. You roast that for like an hour or so, and it's just
hypocrite
great.
sucks. Roasted. There you go.
But
Bam.
that just sounds like a side dish. Like I'd still be hungry for the main
No,
course.
it's a big because of the olive oil. It's like,
Dude, just
yeah,
get
chili and olive oil and garlic and pepper and all that.
And then throw in some chicken.
Haven't you ever had like a vegetarian noodles at like a Chinese place with delicious sauce? And it's purely vegetarian, but it's fucking delicious, and it's like a big ass entree type meal. I love those. Those are totally vegetarian and totally good.
Pasta noodle dishes with vegetables are great.
Nate, the only food I eat is fried chicken.
Now you're speaking
well on
my
your way.
language.
Would you?
Okay. My Snapchat is like half just like videos of me frying shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever eaten just the fried part of the skin,
all the fucking time. I peel it off first and eat it.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only good bit. Maybe you should just eat that part.
Yeah, but they don't have extra diarrhea.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian. I buy chicken wings and I cook them, but I only eat the skin and I throw the rest to my dogs.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
I just feel more comfortable that way.
Okay, let's answer some of these questions here. Okay, here we go. At TBob806 asks, how do you guys deal with stress?
Oh, fuck.
Is there
Stress
really any
deals with
good
me.
way to deal with stress? I don't know it, if there is.
The main way I deal with stress is to not worry about people seeing me get angry, because if you worry about
That's a good
that's
one.
just an extra layer. Being embarrassed about your feelings is retarded.
I know how Gib deals with stress, though. Gib goes into Dark Souls and kills an NPC. That's how he lets off steam.
It's true.
I like that system a lot.
My reaction to stress is to shut down and go catatonic and not do anything.
I'm imagining Ben lying on the floor motionless. It's the stress.
Basically, it's just like...
Does it work?
Well, no, that's not my coping mechanism. That's my natural reaction. Not lying on the floor, but it's me sitting at my computer, just staring at a screen, just picking at my hair or something. It's just for hours. That's my stress reaction. The best coping mechanism that I have with it is to fight through it and do something anyway. And usually that makes me feel better. But of course, easier said than done a lot of the time.
Accomplishing one of the things on your task list when you're stressed is
Yes.
I think, the best way to pick
It
the
is.
smallest
It's
one.
also the
Try
most
to do
difficult
it.
thing to do.
It's really hard. Yeah, it's
That's
definitely
when
hard.
you're
That's why-
least motivated.
It's why you need to have a bunch of shitty projects that don't matter, like I have with the Vriska drawings, I'm still doing.
If I get to
If I can't think of anything to do, I do that and I feel okay.
If I get to the end of a day and I feel like I haven't accomplished anything, I'll make a T-shirt, and that'll be I did something today.
Okay, let's. What do we got here? How about at Based Animan says, Wait, no, it's a terrible question. Never mind. Okay, here's a better one. At our hero, our good friend HGB guy asks this incredible question: you may only choose one, chicken or tea.
Chicken.
That's your question.
Fried
What-
chicken.
Well, I have to choose tea by default, so.
I would be really
Yeah, true.
sad to lose either one.
Oh yeah, actually,
You know-
because I can have coffee, so who cares? Chicken.
Yeah.
My gut reaction is that I'd really miss chicken, but on the other hand, like other meats are good as well.
Actually,
whereas there's
yeah.
really no good substitute for tea.
Ben.
You're right.
Ben,
Yeah?
can you make chicken nuggets out of a different animal?
Actually,
can
Can you
make
make
Yeah,
chicken
you can.
tendies out of a different animal?
Actually,
can you make Buffalo
actually,
Wild Wings out of a different animal?
I just yesterday watched a video of Chef John from foodwishes.com preparing what he called city chicken, which is just pork arranged to look like a chicken wing. And supposedly it's pretty good. So maybe.
Yeah, I guess I would give up chicken actually. Now that you said
Oh,
all that,
fuck you.
I like pork because
I'm kicking
it's
you guys
illegal.
out of the chicken nugget fan club
Oh,
that
no.
we started on the PCP.
I would
Yeah.
definitely give up tea.
The-
I
the
like
one-
tea, but I don't need
Speaking
it.
of chicken, did you hear about the guy who got the year of free nuggets from Wendy's? It actually worked.
Yeah, that's
Did he get all those tweets? Did he get all the retweets?
No,
He
they
did?
they gave it to
didn't,
him
but
anyway.
He has the
Oh,
most.
really?
They did. He didn't get 18 million, but he has. I think it got to like 4 million or something. It's the most retweeted tweet of all time. So
I
Wendy's
was just
like,
curious.
"That's enough. There you go. We
Did
got
he
Holy
have that
shit.
agreement ahead of time, or like what was the arrangement here? Did he just tweet like, "Hey, if I get 1 million tweets, will
no,
I get?"
what he did is he tweeted
Yeah.
at Wendy's and said, "How many retweets do I need to get a year's supply of free nuggets?" And they responded, 18 million. So he quoted that and said, "Help a nigga out. I need my nugs."
Yeah.
And he got like 4.5 million tweets, and it was the most retweeted tweet of all time. So Wendy's is like, you know what? We'll give it to you.
That's fucking great. That's
The most
fantastic.
retweeted tweet of all time. That's
Almost makes up
incredible.
for the porn.
The Wendy's point, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like I was gonna say. Oh yeah, the one misgiving, the one last misgiving I have about giving up chicken is that chicken breast is like the cheapest meat. Like all other meats are more
yeah.
expensive than chicken. That's what would make me sad about giving up chicken.
I
And I'm still
feel
on the
like a lot of the
fence.
time fried chicken it's mostly in the batter, and I can do it with other meat. I probably could.
There's so
Nothing
many
beats chicken
establishments.
nuggets with buffalo sauce, baby. You can't beat it.
I might,
Some of
I might
that
give
honey
up tea.
mustard sauce.
I might have
I
to give
can
up
eat-
tea.
You
in spite
gotta
of
give up
everything.
tea. You gotta give up tea. Who gives a fuck about tea?
Yeah,
Yeah.
tea's just
I
water
drink tea
that
like
has some
I drink tea
fucking
every
herbs in
day,
it.
and even I know chicken. I mean, how are you gonna bulk without chicken? Come on, come on.
I enjoy chicken more often than I enjoy tea. I should give up the tea. It hurts.
There are so many
It
drinks
hurts.
better than tea.
I like it.
I like how you guys are all
it. There's
paying
so many.
to do this, but I've already done this and given up chicken. It's pretty.
There's so
That's
many
true,
different.
that's
There's so
true.
many different kinds of tea.
So many different kinds of chicken.
I think I could probably, if I wanted to, give up meat entirely.
It
I don't
wasn't
want
that hard.
to,
I
but
did
I
it. I
could.
did it in one day. Just one day, I just decided and just
Jesus
stopped.
Christ.
Yeah.
How long you been a veg man?
I think 7 years now.
7 years. Holy
Now,
shit.
Tom, this is an important question I forgot to ask.
Yeah.
As a vegetarian, do you still eat pussy?
You know, that is my one flaw, I suppose. I still do that. on the rare occasions I'm allowed.
You hypocrite.
Hey, okay. Here's another question.
guys.
Yeah.
Do you think vegetarian women still swallow cum?
Yes.
They
yes.
better.
Well, like if a cow could talk and would say like, "Yeah, go take my milk," go for it, no problem. Do the same
Swallow
shit,
my
nobody would
cum,
care.
dude.
Swallow my cum. Yeah. Okay,
Cow
here we
would
go.
say that.
At Gerard says, what is the ideal breakfast of champions? Especially excited to hear a hypocrite and his take on English breakfast.
Ooh,
also, his
wait,
name
what?
is Toasty Boy.
What is the breakfast of champions in reference to anything, or is it
It just
just
means
saying,
like the best
what's your
breakfast.
favorite
I think.
breakfast?
That was the slogan
Yeah.
for Wheaties for a while.
Right, that's true. Wheaties is
mean,
not involved in my breakfast of champions.
I occasionally have an English breakfast with tomatoes and onion and mushrooms and toast and bacon and
Whoa, that's a lot.
sausages and stuff
I'm into that.
and beans.
I'm
It's
into that
all
shit.
it's all nice and greasy and cool, but I don't have it every day because it's a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, I mean English breakfast is my favorite.
I
So
don't.
yeah,
I don't know if this. Yeah, English breakfast is good.
Every breakfast you eat's an English breakfast.
I don't know. I don't know if this is the best. Well, Nate, I have two breakfast stories. One is okay. We went one year to like Connecticut or something, and we stayed at this like weirdly fancy hotel. Remember that? Like we were in this like hotel that was like really fancy for some reason.
I think I do remember that. Yeah, didn't we? There was like a sky bridge over to the event or something. Yeah. Okay.
And there was like a big like painted mural in the ceiling of the foyer or whatever. Anyway, it was advertised that there was free breakfast, like free continental breakfast, meaning like some fucking Danishes and coffee and like a little like sealed pouch of cereal or whatever. But I went to like this other room by accident. It was like a restaurant in the thing, and I ordered lobster eggs Benedict, thinking that
Jesus
it was
Christ.
thinking that this thinking that this was the free breakfast, and they gave it to me.
Jeez.
And then they were like, yeah, $35. And I was like, I'm just a kid. I don't have any money. And then like I don't know, I went and got mom or something, and like she was like, I think they gave it to me for free because like I was a kid.
Aw,
yeah,
that's nice.
So that was one of the best breakfasts I ever had. The other one, the other day, a couple days before I left DigiHouse, we went out to Waffle House together, and I discovered a fucking incredible loophole because Waffle House is kind of pricey for what it is, right? Like the food's not great.
They're pretty shitty. Yeah,
it's kind of shitty and it's not that cheap, but you can like hash browns are like $1.75, and a triple serving of hash browns is like less than 3 times. It's like $3, and you can get a topping for like 50 cents a piece, and one of the toppings is sausage gravy. So go to Waffle House, get a triple hash browns with sausage gravy, and it is a huge fucking bowl of hash brown smothered in like ladles full of sausage gravy. I was stuffed, and it cost me like $3.75.
That sounds
Holy
amazing.
shit.
It was amazing. Everyone try it. Go and rip off.
That sounds
That's a
pretty
Ben
good.
Saint hack right there.
Go and rip off your local Waffle House. By the way, I fucking love sausage gravy, and I hate that they don't eat it above the Mason-Dixon line.
Yeah, we do.
I like never had it. I had it like once in my whole life until I was like an adult.
We grew up in fucking Massachusetts, and then
Yeah, in Iowa, every gas station would have biscuits and gravy available to eat, and they had sausage gravy.
They don't have it around Boston.
Yeah, biscuits and gravy was not a thing around Boston. Yeah.
Huh.
You could get it at like KFC, but not like sausage gravy. They'd have like brown
It was shitty.
gravy.
It was
like,
the shitty
like brown
mashed
gravy.
potato gravy. Yeah.
I remembered my actual favorite breakfast I ever had. It sounds weird, but it's cold salmon, like cold salmon fish bit with scrambled eggs, but put in the microwave. Like not like it's very strange, but it's really nice. Like cold salmon and hot microwaved scrambled eggs.
Delicious.
If you have that.
That reminds me of another breakfast favorite, but it also works good for brunch or lunch, which is a bagel with cream cheese, capers, onions, tomato slices, and thin sliced smoked salmon. It is, or a lox bagel is one of my other favorite breakfasts. But you got to have the capers. The capers really make the meal. Trust me.
I want to hear what you guys think of this one for the breakfast of a true champion. You sleeping until noon, and then you eat lunch.
Breakfast of champions.
I was gonna say
lunch.
I don't
one.
have breakfast. I intermittent fast, but I also sleep
I have
all day.
breakfast
So
regardless
fuck
of
it.
when I wake up.
Wait, that's not the dietary intermittent fasting of like the professional bodybuilders use and shit. That's not what you're talking about? I'm assuming.
I eat for an 8-hour period, and I fast for 16 on the daily.
And do you do this? Do you do this for like the weight loss
That's intermittent
benefits?
fasting.
I that's how I heard about it, but I just do it because like fuck, why not? It's easy.
I kind of
Okay.
do the same thing
Cool.
where I'll eat for 16 hours, and then for 8 hours I won't.
Ah,
'Cause I'm asleep.
that's
Are you talking about
that's
18
like
hours, 16 hours straight? Like that's a big meal.
Yeah.
No, just like, every now and then like sometimes I eat breakfast and lunch and dinner, like these random little meals throughout the day, and then 8 hours, no eating at all.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
He's saying that
He's saying
eats
he's
throughout the
fucking
day
normal.
and then goes to sleep. Yeah.
That sounds
I fast when
preposterous.
I'm
How could a
asleep.
man do that?
It's a fucking joke.
Tyrone
No,
likes to
I
pyramid his
understand.
meals, meaning each meal is bigger than the last. I met Tyrone's dad the other day. He was a short Mexican guy. Tyrone's 6'10", 300 pounds.
What?
That's from Donkey.
That's some donkey for you.
Oh.
Here's a question. At Vivian
Classic
Flame.
donkey.
At Vivian Flamer asks, "Will you validate me by answering my humorous question that leaves little room for discussion towards the end of your podcast, please?" No. Moving on. Next question.
Got him.
At animedicated. Yeah, animedicated. People have weird names.
Animedicated.
Maybe it is animedicated. Oh, yeah, that's probably it. Animedicated. Oh, you got it. Okay, good job. Have you ever had any paranormal or otherwise inexplicable experiences?
Yes. Ghosts.
No.
Wait, what?
Ghost.
Sorry,
Ghost.
I
Ghost.
am a ghost.
Yeah, you ever
He's
had a
asking if you ever-
you ever had a paranormal thing happen to you?
Or just inexplicable period.
I went to Pokemon Hell,
Oh shit.
How was it?
but it was hot.
Yeah, it hurts
I
a lot.
left.
It hurts a lot. Trust me. I had a ghost. I had a ghost. Yeah. So my college was real gay, but one of the things it was like, I guess it was like the most haunted college in New Jersey, or it had some shitty little claim to fame like that.
Lol.
There were a couple of like local ghosts in different buildings, whatever. And like when I first got there as a freshman, they had like a thing. It was like there was like a raffle to see who got to go on this like ghost tour, where like a tour guide would go around and talk about the ghosts. And like, oh my god, this is a fucking tale. We went around to different places. Oh, this is the ghost that supposedly he is here. Da 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 da. And we went up to like the top of this like administrative building that I had like that is not like a normal place to go. And we were standing up in this kind of like conference room with like windows and stuff. And he's talking about the ghost. He's talking about whatever, like, ghost of, like, a woman or something who died or something. And there's a lightning flash. Or someone takes a picture in a camera. And I swear to God, reflected in the window in this room, I see the image of an old man in a poncho standing next to a little boy. And I'm like, huh. That looks an awful lot like a ghost. And I was like, hey, excuse me, tour guy. I think I just saw a ghost in the mirror. I saw the ghostly image of an old man in a poncho standing with a little boy, and he was like, "Oh no, that's not the ghost that lives here." And I was okay, never mind. Don't worry about it. It's fine. And then some fucking goth chick was like, "Ugh," and like got all spooked, and she was sitting on a radiator, and she was like, "Ugh," and she kind of made a scene about it, and the tour guide was like, "Oh, what is it?" And she was like, "Oh, I felt something, but I'm very receptive to the spirits. I talk to ghosts all the time." And then she went on this big stupid thing about her retarded beliefs or whatever.
Was it not because she sat on a hot radiator and she went,
She
hot.
she faked the whole goddamn thing for attention. That
Okay,
son of
Ben.
a bitch.
I need to ask, so how convinced are you that what you experienced there was a paranormal event?
0%.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
I had a real one, if you want to hear my real paranormal event.
Sure.
Sure.
So one time, me and my buddies, we went to Red Lobster, and for some reason, all these fucking places, you order crab legs or lobster, they don't take the meat out for you. They're like, here's a $25 chore for you. Have fun. So
Right.
I got all the meat
that.
out of my lobster, and I had this shell sitting over there, and it started shaking around a bit, and I think there was a ghost in the shell.
Wow. Good one.
Fuck all of you.
Very
Laughing
good.
Ben's gay bullshit,
that
and not
joke
my
didn't even make
hilarious
sense.
meme.
You just put the words of a thing that everyone knows in a goddamn...
It was all just a Shaggy Dog story.
I'm starting my new
true.
podcast. I'm starting the Prolapse and Gators podcast.
Hey, here's a question that's
It's nothing but
purely
puns.
this is a purely a vanity question. Fakakabobka. God damn it. I don't know. Whatever. Fakukaboaka asks, how do you like your steak? And I'm only answering this because I just had the best steak of my whole life 2 weeks ago at this. My parents came to visit in Cincinnati, and we went to this place called The Precinct. For the first time in my life, they wanted to go to a fancy restaurant, so I got this reservation at the place. I never believed there was such a thing as a good restaurant. I assumed everything was McDonald's quality or worse. And I got to this place, and we had this. It's famous for its steaks, it's like a Cincinnati famous restaurant, and had the fucking steak, and it was just literally the best meal I've ever had in my entire life. And it was, I believe, medium. No, it was medium rare. Yeah, it was medium rare. So
I think medium rare is the way to go with steak.
It was pink and juicy and so fucking succulent.
Yeah.
God, everyone go to The Precinct. It's the best.
Yeah.
I
Medium
just
rare, definitely.
it's not a steak, but I just went to a place called Moxie Burger yesterday, which I'd never been to before, and ordered the classic Moxie Burger, which is it's a burger medium rare with bacon, like a cheese sauce, some other like spicy aioli sauce on it or something, and a fried green tomato. And
Wow.
I'd never had a fried green tomato before. It kind of tasted like a pickle. Anyway, it was super good. And medium rare.
Sick.
Medium rare is the point.
Oh, I just thought of a cool thing to say. This could be a hashtag. Liking well done steak is the equivalent of liking Dark Souls 2. That's the comparison. I thought it was
Just shit-
quite apt because
just
people
shit taste.
people
Garbage.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, people can. It's mostly because people have come out and said, you know, I think well done steak is the best, and I'm like,
Idiots.
well, it isn't. You just like it. So you're dumb.
I agree. Okay, here we go. Here's-
Hideki Kamiya said that as a boy he would eat steak, but he would eat American steak. Only he couldn't understand all the words, like he couldn't fully appreciate the taste of the American steak, which inspired him to make his own steak as an adult and like deliberately leave out some of like the key ingredients so that the player of the steak had to like piece the story together in their own minds.
But you said
know?
Hideki Kamiya. What you mean is Hidetaki Miyazaki.
I
the man who
meant
made Dark Souls.
Hidetaki Miyazaki.
I was quite lost there.
Yep,
but
fuck
I
me.
got it now.
Sorry,
Did I mess up
everybody.
his first name? Whatever, who cares? It's Miyazaki. Okay, here's another question. Okay, this is one I've been mulling over in my mind for a long time. At Mostafa was here asks, is it gay to fap with friends?
Yes,
Is
God.
it?
Yes.
Jesus.
I don't know. I'm not prepared to condemn it to gay
All right.
that quickly.
Get out of here, you
There are
fucking gay.
There are situations.
How-
where
What do you
it
mean
cannot
there are
be gay.
situations?
There are no
If you're back to
situations.
back, if you're
What?
back to back, it's not gay, dude. Not gay.
But why?
Wait, if you're back to back, like
Even
like
if
like
you're not
like you're-
gay, you're still a fag.
Just go to the fucking next door.
Well,
Just
why
go
not?
home. Go
would
home
you be
and
like?
jerk
Would you
it.
be like two of you like backed into it like back to back like fighting off waves of zombies like jizzing all over them? That's
No,
all,
This is
the
the
only
dumbest
weapon
thing
you
I've
have.
ever heard.
That'd be okay. Look, there was
Yeah.
this isn't
Oh,
actually
no.
like the full FAP story, but it's like when
Oh,
I was a little
no.
boy,
Oh,
my
no.
friend showed me
Yeah.
showed me
Oh,
some
showed you his
hardcore
dick and now
porn.
you're gay?
You guys all know Heather Brooke, right? The famous deep throat artist. She's a goddess. And she was. My friends showed me that, and I didn't jack off with them, but I went to the next room and I jacked off, and I just feel totally vindicated for that whole event, and I don't feel there was a shred of gayness in the whole thing. If anyone is gay, it's them for giving me a boner. That's gay to bring up porn when around your friends.
One time as a youth, me and a friend like went to the bathroom, and I like was peeing in the urinal, and I finished, and then for some reason I decided to like jerk off into the urinal, and I did it real fast. Yeah, and like
God,
I was a
what is
little
wrong with
kid, and
all
like
of
I don't
you?
know, I thought it was cool. I was like, hey, I'm jerking off, and he's like, are you jerking off? I was like, yeah, I am, and I did. But you know what? Unlike Nate, I'm gonna that was fucking gay and weird.
One time
God.
at summer camp, a dude just pulled out his dick and showed it to me and said, like, dude, isn't this sick? And I was like,
Is it?
I'm gonna be sick. That's
Isn't
gay.
this diseased?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Are you a doctor by any chance?
That's what he was trying to say.
We live in a mad world. We live in a mad world.
Yeah, a world
okay.
of possibilities.
Personally,
As
I
to
don't
whether
think
or not we're gay.
I don't think there's anything gay with jerking your dick while looking at a woman if your friend's next to you. Fuck it.
I got to agree on that.
If
Well,
you think jerking off to a woman is gay, then you need to
If- if
reevaluate
you can-
your own
if-
sexuality.
But why do you gotta do it with your buddy there?
Look,
Because we're watching the same porno, dude.
Yeah.
That's weird too.
The thing
Don't
about
you
it,
know
the thing
about
about it,
fucking... Uh-huh.
the thing about it is that the proximity of the dicks and the awareness of both of you that there's a live dick somewhere right next to you.
What if we're
Like,
both
are you
under
gonna
a
glance at
blanket?
it? If you glance at it, if you think about it, then you're gay.
No, what if
You
we're under a
got
blanket?
to examine. Well, if you're under separate blankets, I mean, if you're under the same blanket, that's kind of just being gay with each other. But
Jerking
I
off
didn't
is
mean
a
the
solo
same
activity.
one.
What is wrong with all of you?
think about the historical context, Tom. Come on, like, okay, first of all,
context.
I don't
first
give
of
a shit
all,
about the
if you're
historical context.
double teaming a girl, that's basically like masturbating, only using a girl as a
Yeah.
masturbation tool.
Yeah,
so
what's up with
already
that?
right there.
I'm still
already right
I'm
there.
not
And I
not
wouldn't-
100%
do that
sold
either.
on doing that. And yeah, I would.
You guys
Well,
think
if
a
you-
devil's
if you did, you
threesome
wouldn't
is
be gay.
gay?
I
No,
don't know if I.
No,
go
I don't think
quite
it's
that
gay.
far.
I just I
Devil's
wouldn't be.
threesome.
That's what it's called. That's
with
what
it.
the deal.
That's just funny. That is a funny term. Okay, but also consider even more apropos is the old like nudie picture cinemas they used to have, where everyone would go in and fucking Pee Wee Herman went and jerked off.
That was a
don't
bunch.
know.
Yeah, but that's a bunch of strangers, and I assume they're not like next to each other. I assume they're all like seated in seats.
They have a little cubicle. Like the people at the top jizz on the people on the lowest row.
It creates
And then it
a
just
wave.
keeps going down.
That's called trickle down economics.
Guys, what if there's somebody at home who lives in a poor family and they have to share a bedroom with like their brother? Are they allowed to
Right.
jerk off while their brother's in the room?
You know,
Yes.
desperate times call for stealth situations.
Yeah,
I
like,
had
just
no
jerk off
choice.
in the middle of the night.
Stealth jerking off is different. Stealth
Yeah, okay,
jerking
that's-
off
that's
is
fair.
Totally different.
We've all stealth
But
jerked
the
off
question
when Ben was in the room.
Didn't the question just say, "Can you jerk off with your friend in the room"?
Okay. Stealth jerk. I'm imagining like you both got your dicks out, like
Right,
conscious,
right.
and you're both like, yeah, we're jacking.
You're the gay one if your mind went straight to that shit.
I've always
that's
said
why-
that I'm
that's-
gay. I guess.
That's why I brought up like the whole like awareness thing. Like, do they know that I'm doing it, or
They
do
know.
I know that they're
They
doing
know.
it? If both of you
yeah.
know that the other is doing it, then it's pretty gay.
I disagree.
What if
I
I'm not looking
disagree.
at his dick? I'm looking at the tits on the TV.
Okay, you know what?
I know
No,
that,
I
but
wouldn't-
like,
I wouldn't-
there's just
I wouldn't
this
say
in the
it's
back of
gay.
your mind.
It's
wouldn't
not
say it's
gay,
gay.
but it's stupid.
I wouldn't do it. I would feel.
Let me
weird
ask you
doing
this:
it.
Is it gay to sword fight with your dicks? Is that gay?
No.
No, I don't. I think it very much depends. I think it depends on how you do
What's
it.
not
you know?
gay about
Oh my
that?
God.
It's only
Well,
gay if
you-
your intention is to
come on.
come from it.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I
I guess.
Like
Or
you
like
just
if
play
it's
around.
sexually, it's okay. Just like because if a guy grabs your junk and just starts groping you, like you may in fact get a boner despite being totally heterosexual,
Sure.
just from the physical stimulation.
Yeah.
To the same,
Yeah.
in the same way, getting a boner in order to sword fight with a dude is totally not necessarily gay. But if the act excites you and the rubbing of the dicks against each other, if that excites you, that's gay. And just it
Wait,
can't be
why?
just the touching. It has to be
You
the
just
thought.
said that.
Well,
Like,
wait.
Yeah,
just
you
be
just
stimulated.
said that physical stimulation.
Maybe I said it wrong.
Ben, I got a question
If
for
physical
you.
stimulation is not gay, then physical stimulation of two dicks is gay.
Yeah, it's
No, no,
not. It's not
here's a
gay.
good
if it's,
test.
it's not gay if it feels good, guys.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Ben, I've got a test for you. Let's
What's
say
that?
let's say
Okay.
your girlfriend wants to surprise you. She says, "Here, Ben, I'm going to blindfold you, give you a blowjob." So
Yeah.
then she does. Uh-oh, it wasn't her. She had her brother do it. If you come in her brother's mouth and you think it was a chick, are you now gay?
Well,
Yes,
no,
for sure.
No,
Yeah, of course not.
No, that's not gay. That's not gay at all.
definitely
No,
not.
because when
although I am single now because my girlfriend is
It's the intention,
is dead now.
the whole thing about sexual orientation is that it's a preference. If you don't know that it's a guy, then it's
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you just wear it blindfold all the time. You can have as much
And
sex
then
as you
sword
like.
fight all you want.
That's right. That's right. Okay, we plumbed the depths of that
I
one.
feel like we've learned a lot today.
I agree. That was a
Nico
real
and Nate,
question.
you guys are One Piece experts. Has Luffy ever stretched out his dick like a sword and sword fighted people with
it has. Well,
In
he hasn't done that, but
pornography, yes. I mean,
well, yeah, but there was
not
that one.
exactly.
There was that one chapter where
the
those
Amazon.
Amazon
Oh,
ladies.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Monkey,
What happened?
Get ready for this,
They
Monkey.
like
what happened
they like
was
stretched it.
Yeah.
I think.
They
There
stretched
was a
his dick?
scene. All right, now listen to
They-
this. Listen to this. So Luffy once crash landed on an island of only women. He was found, he was hurt really bad. A bunch of women found him unconscious. They brought him to a bath and they started bathing him. They took off all his clothes and they were like, "Oh my God, he's got like a mushroom attached to him. We got to pull this off." There was literally chapters of this girl, I forget her name, Marianne or something, stretching his dick. And they're like, "Oh, it's so stretchy. Why wouldn't it come off?" Trying to separate his dick from his body. He's getting jacked off in canon One Piece.
Do they
Really
draw a
happened. It's
picture
real
of his
shit.
stretchy dick?
They don't.
No,
No.
they
it's
don't
under
show
soap
it.
and
It's
shit. It's
off
under like
frame.
soap.
Yeah.
And they do it because they don't know what a man is.
Yeah, they don't know what a
That's
dick
why.
is.
Okay.
It's pretty hot though, nonetheless.
It's pretty great.
Now, if
yeah.
it was a bunch of Amazon men, would Luffy be gay?
Yes.
well, not from that, but because he was unconscious. But then when he woke up, he would become gay immediately.
As soon as you're aware. Awareness of sexual acts with men is what makes you gay.
See,
If you know-
guys,
yeah,
this is way more fun than animal rights. We should do whole episodes
God.
about what is gay.
This is way more fun.
Oh my God, what is gay is a great topic.
Let's come back.
Me and
let's
Digi
add that to
already
the
did that
docket.
on our social media podcast, you faggot.
Well, maybe
Oh,
we can
well,
weigh in on it too.
there's-
We want to talk
well,
about
Well,
it.
nobody
the
watches
gayest
that.
thing
We
is
can
copying someone
safely
else's
copy it.
idea,
Yeah.
so it's relevant.
It was
That's
already
true.
decided that it's only gay if the balls touch.
That's a pretty good rule
That's
of thumb,
one
I think.
theory.
Okay,
We've got
here's our last
alternative
question.
theories.
A
What about if your
game
own-
theory.
What about if one of your balls touches your other ball? Is that
That's gay. That's definitely
No.
gay.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
That's
gay
not
as
fucking
hell.
gay.
I'm gay right now.
There's not a man alive who's not gay as
If
fuck.
we're all gay, then nobody's gay.
Oh god.
All right, here's our last question. At Pancake Monster asks, or at Pancake Monstay, because I guess they couldn't fit the R. What PCP member would be the easiest to kidnap? I'm going to say Ben Saint. I will email his address to you.
Oh yeah, he'll
his whole-
become the
his whole
easiest because we're gonna
schedule.
dox him right now.
I mean,
Yeah,
Ben
he's-
Saint is just like E.T., only instead of Reese's Pieces, just take garbage and he'll follow it and eat it.
Ben is very predictable.
If
Ben
you
is
leave
very-
a trail of raisins, Ben will follow.
That's true. Ben is very predictable. He's very weak-minded. He is very susceptible to suggestion and trickery. So I don't think you'll have much trouble.
I'm just like a deer in the headlights all the time.
Okay, that's it. That's the end of the questions. Okay,
Perfect.
we're done. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure you send us more next Saturday at TP Crastinators on Twitter. And thanks for listening.
Hey! I want to plug my shit because I've been streaming lately. I've been streaming lately over at Saint Comics on Twitch. So I go there and I draw. So if you want to check that out, go fucking follow me there, you idiots.
Oh, well, if you're going to plug streaming, I'm going to plug streaming because I've been streaming a lot recently on video games at twitch.tv/giveandtake. You can go look at that.
Subscribe to
stuff.
Monkey Jones.
At Best Guy Ever.
Oh.
Wait, Bestest Guy Ever.
Wait, and while I'm here, also, everyone, go check out me and my girlfriend Jackie's side channel. There's one video up there. It's Ben and Jackie's College Fund. Get in on the ground floor now before we take off and crush you all under our heels.
Yeah, you gotta do that. You
Nate-
won't regret
Nate-
it at all. You won't regret it at all.
Nate shrugs uncomfortably.
You guys should do a comedy skit where she's gonna give you a blowjob blindfolded, but then
but that's a good idea.
Inspired by real events on a real podcast.
Okay, we're done. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
I'm supposed to be working right now. I'm supposed to